If I let fame get the best of me, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna self-destruct, and I don't wanna self-destruct. I'm out to accomplish a lot of things, and I want to have a voice in hip-hop. I want to have a voice. I want to be able to speak and people listen. So when I get to that certain level where I'm going to be able to speak and people are going to listen, then I'm going to tell my side of the story. Other than that, you know, people are going to pass judgment. They're going to say what they want to say, and they're going to make their own conclusions or whatever, you know. And they're more than welcome to do it.
Detroit! What up, though? So look, I wrote down a few things I wanted to say. I love you too, thank you. I'm here tonight for a couple of important reasons. As most of you know, the city of Detroit and the whole state of Michigan mean a lot to me. And going into this election, the spotlight is on us more than ever, and I think it's important to use your voice. So I'm encouraging everybody to get out and vote, please. I also think that people shouldn't be afraid to express their opinions, and I don't think anyone wants an America where people are worried about retribution or what people will do if you make your opinion known. I think Vice President Harris supports a future for this country where these freedoms and many others will be protected and upheld.
Embraced by the mainstream, do you feel you've finally gotten the respect that you've deserved all along?
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling it. You know, it's always gonna be mixed with every artist that comes out. You know, you're gonna feel hate, you're gonna feel love, and in the areas where I feel like I need to feel it, I'm feeling it, so.
Yeah. You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Fucking sellout. Eminem, I can't stand your ass, bro. You know, I was a huge fan. Yo, check this out, y'all. I've been a huge fan of Eminem for a long time. I grew up listening to this dude, literally my whole life. Like, he's even in my cadence. Like, everybody wants to be Eminem. I don't want to believe this. Like, I don't know if it's a trend. I don't know what it is. Is it trendy to be stupid? This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing for our country, and people like Eminem, big figures, need to stand up, bro. And speaking of Eminem, bro, look, check this out. Your last couple albums been trash. I'm just keeping 100 with you, bro. We don't look at you like a superhero anymore.
When a society restricts itself to one dominant viewpoint, it risks becoming intellectually stagnant, unable to adapt to new challenges or recognize areas for improvement.
This looks like a job for me. I don't care about the economy. I'm a billionaire, so if you're me, it don't matter who wins the presidency.
Supports a future for this country where these freedoms and many others will be protected and upheld.
Not Eminem, not another cheap-ass sellout down the Harris toilet. I do understand all these young people who are not educated, who don't understand what's the difference between Fifth Amendment and 10th Amendment, and don't know and cannot tell the difference between finger. But you are an adult. You're a rich person. You have a huge audience. You have a huge responsibility. And you're telling people you're voting for Harris. What kind of stuff do they have on you that you've actually come out and said this? And you're voting for the party that has caused the war, that has been in power for the last 4 years, haven't done anything that they're claiming they're about to do in the next 4 years. Cheap sellout. A shame.
I think Vice President Harris.
And my least favorite comment on the entire internet is, as soon as I heard X, I couldn't take him seriously anymore.
Growth in science, culture, and personal freedom depends on the exchange and debate of diverse ideas. History has shown us that when one ideology, belief, or viewpoint becomes the only acceptable one, it stifles innovation, limits critical thinking, and discourages people from questioning the status quo. Throughout history, the freedom to speak, to debate, and to challenge prevailing ideas has been the engine of societal progress. From the ancient philosophers of Greece to the thinkers of the Enlightenment, it was the freedom to express different opinions that paved the way for new understandings of science, philosophy, and human rights. Imagine if those figures hadn't dared to question what everyone else accepted as truth. The freedom to voice unique, even controversial ideas is what allows societies to grow and adapt. When people can safely share what they think, we gain perspectives that we might never have considered. It's through debate and discussion that flawed beliefs are refined and replaced with stronger, more accurate ones. But what happens when that freedom is suppressed? When society decides that certain viewpoints are too uncomfortable to be heard, or that people who express unpopular opinions should be cut off, silenced, or cancelled? We risk creating an echo chamber where everyone is pressured to think and act the same way. Without diverse perspectives, we lose the ability to solve complex issues. We stop growing. And worse, we create an atmosphere of fear, where people are more focused on saying the right thing than on exploring the truth. So the real question becomes, are we willing to sacrifice genuine progress for the comfort of conformity? Are we open to letting others speak their minds, even if we don't agree? Or are we closing the doors to what makes our societies truly innovative and resilient? When we approach conversations with the intent to understand rather than just respond, we create an environment where ideas can flow freely and people feel safe to express themselves. Disagreements don't have to be disrespectful or divisive. In fact, they can be constructive and even enlightening. In a healthy society, listening fosters empathy. It allows us to recognize the humanity in those who hold views different from our own. When we listen openly, we remind ourselves that everyone's opinions are shaped by unique life experiences, and this diversity in perspectives enriches our own understanding of the world. For example, a disagreement on an issue like immigration might initially seem polarizing. However, by genuinely listening to someone with a different perspective, someone who may have a personal story related to immigration, whether directly or indirectly, we can gain insight into aspects of the issue we might not have considered. When we engage with others' viewpoints without immediate judgment, we become more aware of the nuances in their beliefs and values. This process creates a kind of intellectual humility where we recognize that our understanding is limited and that there's always more to learn. For instance, two people might have opposing views on environmental policy. Instead of dismissing one another, they might discover they share concerns about clean air and sustainable living, but differ on how to achieve it. This shared goal can lead to innovative solutions and a collaborative approach, bridging divides rather than reinforcing them. When we're open to hearing a variety of perspectives, we're less likely to fall into the trap of groupthink, where everyone conforms to the same view without question. For example, in scientific research or business strategy, successful teams are often those that actively invite different viewpoints, knowing that respectful disagreements spark creativity and improve problem solving. Importantly, listening builds resilience in society. If we grow accustomed to civil disagreement and constructive feedback, we become better equipped to handle the complex and divisive issues of our time. In democratic societies, leaders often make difficult decisions that won't please everyone. If citizens are accustomed to respectful debate and listening to opposing viewpoints, they're more likely to remain engaged, to understand compromise, and to work together in finding solutions rather than becoming bitterly divided. In essence, disagreement does not have to result in division or disrespect. By prioritizing listening, we foster a culture of growth, empathy, and resilience. And we recognize that understanding others, even when we don't fully agree, ultimately strengthens the fabric of our communities and our society. In such an environment, people don't feel pressured to conform to a single viewpoint. Rather, they feel empowered to contribute their unique voice, confident that they'll be heard with respect. Take Eminem, for instance. Recently, he used his platform to urge people to vote, endorsing Kamala Harris and supporting the idea that everyone should be free to share their opinions without fear of backlash. But his message, a call for people to use their voices, was met with intense negativity. Instead of sparking a healthy discussion, his statements led to waves of criticism, revealing a troubling aspect of today's culture. Even advocating for everyone's right to express themselves can be met with hostility. This brings up a crucial point about cancel culture. It initially started as a way to hold people accountable for harmful actions. But in cases like this, it's clear how those boundaries have blurred. Eminem wasn't promoting anything harmful. He was encouraging participation and open discourse. Yet the reaction showed a resistance to different views that goes against the foundations of a free society. If someone as influential as Eminem can face backlash for simply calling for open expression, it raises the question, how many others are silenced before they even have the chance to speak? This is the risk of a culture where only certain views are seen as acceptable. For progress to happen, we need a society where conversations can unfold without the fear of retribution. Because if people are afraid to even speak up, we lose the rich, diverse dialogue that fuels growth and understanding.
And any fan of mine who's a supporter of his, I'm drawing in the sand a line. You're either for or against. And if you can't decide who you like more and you're split on who you should stand beside, I'll do it for you with this. And here to tell you much more about that, President Barack Obama.
You know, I have done a lot of rallies, so I don't usually get nervous. But I was feeling some kind of way following Eminem. Now I notice my palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, vomit on my sweater already, mom's spaghetti. I'm nervous, but on the surface I look calm and ready to drop bombs, but I keep on forgetting. Love me some Eminem.
One of Mill's ideas is that it's almost impossible to imagine that in any conversation, regardless of who they are, that one person is 100% right and the other person is 0% right. It's almost always, this is a direct quote from Mill, he said, we almost always share the truth between us.
Oh, that's great.
And the idea of sharing the truth between you doesn't mean you're sharing it equally, but it does mean that even if you've got there's a grain of truth in what you're saying, even if I'm like the world's biggest expert on whatever it is, it's still possible that you coming along thinking, oh, well, what about this?
Novel insight. Oh, that's interesting.
That's interesting. Yeah, maybe I'll take that, so maybe I'm 98% right and you're 2% right. Let's focus on the 2%, right? Rather than trying to bludgeon you with my 98% expertise.
My fellow Americans, our movement is far from over. In fact, our fight has only just begun. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God.
Let's focus on the 2%, right? Rather than trying to bludgeon you with my 98% expertise.